of perspectives and meeting the right people. Second is CoDot, and third would be you. Okay. So first, when I am talking about perspectives and meetings, I'll tell you a fun fact. The first time I was in RV. Okay. So how many of you have seen BIT, Bangalore Institute of Technology? Okay. BIT is a great college. We were the second in India to bring computer science, but our infrastructure is not that like popular. If you look at our building, you'll get to know. So we didn't have a lot of clubs. The club culture was missing. I'm particularly emphasizing because consider yourself to be blessed with the kind of club culture you have. It is usually non-existent in non-IITs. Okay, as simple as that. So I used to come here and somehow I used to like pass the security and sit in Jatayu club. I did it for 3 days and the 4th day I was caught. Okay, and they sent me back. And I also tried. I couldn't sit in E-Cell because E-Cell is a more open community. So in that time, like I could be there for 3 days. The next time I came in RV, I was a speaker in Imbak. Okay. So that is when I was in my 3rd year. And I remember the Jatayu Club then wanted me as one of the advisors. That was quite cool, right? I met my co-founder because of the power of meetings, and I am someone who was quite randomly clear about entrepreneurship because I am from Bihar, and I am from a typical that background where I never scored lower than 98% in my life, okay, till my 12th. Because suddenly in my 12th I was in quota and few things happened, and I scored around 60% I think. And I got suicidal and stuff, and 1 year, and then I spent a lot of time, and I had this clarity that I want to become an entrepreneur by the time I came to Bangalore. And I failed across 17 ideas through my college life, and as you fail so many times, you know how to fail, right? And I became यार अभी तो डायलॉग मारने शुरू नहीं किए so by that time I was a good consultant, right? I know how to fail, so I also know how not to fail. So started up the first company, which was Unicorn Mark, which actually worked finally, and then eventually Vinay also joined it, and we went on to consult cool people like Ranstania. But yes, now perspectives. So in my life, from being a kid who was very afraid, in a bubble, trying to score 98% and above to survive in this world, because he knew no other way to survive, right? If not getting into IT, his survival would be questioned. That's the kind of perspectives I had in life. How many of you have such perspectives, like, where like it's a dog eat dog world, and if I'm not going to score tomorrow, like please like throw all your random great revolutionary ideas in dustbin. I come from a middle class family, and if I don't do the shit right now, I would be thrown in the dustbin. How many of you feel that way? I was that kid, okay? It was not about open ideas. I didn't knew about entrepreneurship, dude. Like it was like business, karne wale paisa chhapte hain bas, and that was a different thing. I hadn't heard the name of Steve Jobs till my class 10th. And suddenly I gained a large perspective, and a kid who was suicidal kind of planned to open a club in Punjab, Chandigarh. It was my drop year. So every night I was kind of reasoning myself why not to suicide, and then I was also trying to do something, because when I read the life of Steve Jobs, I was like, dude, this kid is creating random things when he is in 8th standard, and why am I trying to commit suicide after my 12th and not trying to do those things? 3 Idiots was a movie, we tried to create a quadcopter, this, that. A lot of things happened, a lot of perspectives came. As been I told, once you start like bouncing in your life and you start putting efforts, as you people are doing, sitting at what is the time? Okay, 5:45. Randomly, something else was on. Okay, 5:45. You're sitting on a Thursday. This is what you do in life to gain perspectives, right? You will never walk out of any room where you're sitting with a bunch of people discussing over something as the same human again. So for those to that, you are doing that already. You are gaining the perspective. While this happens, you start meeting the right kind of people. And one of the right kind of people I bumped into was Vinay Jubati. He was my senior. I'm an 18 graduate, he's a 17 graduate. So we met for the first time, and I used to be this kid who would always say, what are you doing? I'm running a company. Could it be that that company could only have me at a chair, and maybe I was just delivering PPT to people? But yes, that was the way it was. So we met. He's a very practical person. He's the person, whom you should talk to. Ideally, I am the person whom you should not talk to very often. So we met and he told he's a convener from ESL. I told I run a company. We never talked again because I think our wives didn't match, right? And then I missed my flight being a middle class boy, like from a middle class family. One of the craziest crimes you can commit in your life is to miss your flight, right? Like it's too expensive sin to commit. And I committed that sin because, again, I didn't have the perspective that, okay, actually you have to go before time. So I used to think that people panic hence they go before time. So I just reached there around and I realized the conveyor belt was gone. And I tried to convince the CRPF and everyone, but again, Bollywood movies, flight chases don't happen in real life. I tried to convince Indigo for that, but they were like, no, this doesn't happen. So then I met Vinay Jugati. We did crazy things like in the event where we invited Mr. Modi, our Prime Minister, we also invited A.R. Rahman, and we thought A.R. Rahman would be a filler, right? Because people will get bored and walk out, so A.R. Rahman should be singing for them. That was the kind of event we were planning. And we met 12 IAS officers and 8 ministers of Karnataka by the way for that event. So it was not low-key. We were playing like actual international, and we were telling yahan se chakka marenge and ball will go to Saudi Arabia from England. And people were questioning, do you think you will be able to do it? I'm like, why not? And obviously it failed. But that experience, that perspective that Vinay gained through those years, we never talked, we were never great friends. I continuously had co-founders across my 17 different failures. Most of them were very close friends, okay, college friends, school friends joined me, that. But Vinay and me, we were very different people. Like I'm the kind of person who is always talking, he's the kind of person who actually talks when required, right? So then Vinay came back and he said, Aman, in my company when I'm sitting with my CFO, by the way, his CFO is someone who is kind of playing around with loans of 1600 crores, so he's an actual CFO, okay? So Vinay is learning just under him, then he has a job offer of 80,000 bucks from one of the RV alumnus only, I think it was. And another some offer he had from another company. And so I was like, he was discussing with me and he was like, what should I do? And I knew that he's not going to choose Unicorn Mark. And ultimately he did because of the perspectives he gained during that experience, that crazy experience that we had. So the perspectives and random meetings kind of have the capability to change your life, right? Especially in college, it happens a lot because right now you are in that random motion. And it is actually, if you do the mathematics, it is usually defined by the random motion. If you stay only as you are expected, you might not meet a lot of people as you could have, okay? And most of you have been a victim of this because of the kind of background you must have come in a college like RV. Getting my point? To like the horse who is always looking at the front, you usually miss on a lot of perspectives and people. So now I come to CoDot. How many of you agree with this? Any questions on this part? Perspectives and meetings.
How do you find right people?
How do you find right people? This is what we are trying to crack. This is what our life's mission is, so we'll be defining CoDot. Okay? So actually, we have actually put 2 years of our life, including the pandemic era, on this problem set. How to meet the right people. So, am I audible by the way?
Yeah.
I had good filter coffee from a can. So, cool. I have practiced this. Let me start. So actually, the first part I got a bit emotional and I delivered. It was not in the agenda, by the way. I had to jump to CoDot. But when Vinay started sharing, you can walk around here. When Vinay was talking, I realized that apart from selling CoDot, I should be kind of trying to touch one of you and kind of let you know that you can do it. Because somewhere I did it. I have been a guest lecturer in IITs, I have been a guest lecturer in IIMs. If you talk in terms of IIT, IIM, if you have that bias in life, while being in BIT. And then people started telling me, since you couldn't crack IIT and you didn't have clubs in life, hence you became like this and hence you are getting opportunities. I'm like, thank you. Like this is how life it is, right? You always, you start loving the struggles of all other people and you're like, this struggle made this person happen, right? While you kind of want to stay away from the struggle. So cool. Let me come to CoDot. So there was a kid in Odisha, by the way. That kid had a random idea, and that kid had this thing in mind that this idea can be realized somehow. And then this kid happened to know about something called Thiel Fellowship. Okay, and that kid did something. Do you know the name of that kid? Ritesh Agarwal, Oyo Rooms, right? There was a lady in one of the colleges. I actually forgot the name. It is in my bag. Where is my bag? But anyways, I forgot the name of a college. She had an idea that the kind of stories that India wants is not being told. So she opened a platform, and I think you have spent at least 3 hours on that platform. Your story and Joe's talks. I was talking about Joe's talks, your story too, right? Shraddha Sharma, Honorable Shraddha Sharma. I was talking about Supriya Paul because she did it just after college. Okay, and Shraddha Sharma, obviously the legend, right? The lady who made startup school. And there is a kid who was in college, wanted to start up, and for 4 years he kept on failing and couldn't become Ritesh Agarwal. That is me, right? Because I didn't have the right kind of ideas. I didn't know about TL fellowship. Okay, getting the point? So when COVID came and we were running our service-based company, a lot of tragedies happened around me and Vinay, and we were like completely destroyed. Okay, like we were catering exclusively to a lot of restaurants and stuff, and obviously COVID came and boom. So 15 clients and zero and all revenue gone. So we had time to think. Whenever life like hits you in the head, it's one of the best time to get into the Buddha mode. Okay, just chill and aram se think. So meanwhile, me and Vinay were also experimenting around a lot of ideas, and now we had the kind of connections. But we were constantly questioning what is that one thing that we truly want to solve. And gradually, back then CA and RC was happening, a lot of things were happening in the country, right? And we realized that, yeah, our life is so beautiful. Like if we talk in terms of fundamental principles, ultimately all of us are chasing happiness, right? Or kind of validation from ourselves and others. So this happiness and validations came to us when we met, or he met someone like Anoop's name he took, or etc., right? Like when something happened, something magical happened, you changed as a human and you did something that you had never expected in life. Are you getting that feel? Has it happened to you? Like dramatically life changed. It could be you met a teacher in your some grade, or it could be the decision of coming from some other city and coming and sitting in RV, right? What is this thing that is happening to humans? And then we went deep in the thought, and then we saw weird things happening all across history, right? Like in Bengal, pop, geniuses are popping. If you see something in 1890 or something happens, every field there is a genius, and then it dies, right? In Greek, that Alexander's time, pop, something is happening, and then it dies. Connecting? J.C. Bose, Vivekananda, Subhash Chandra Bose, Tagore, like name a field and there is a pop genius. What is happening? How can we meet the right people like Nike, Mr. Nike, like you asked?
Yes, sir.
How do we meet the right people? So then we realized that it is mostly about perspectives and meeting the right people. And then we started thinking on the lines of how to organize this whole thing. So we then actually like researched for 1 year. I remember our first research was with IIT Delhi students, and there a lot of indulgence came on this problem statement because we realized that a certain class of the mass is coming and connecting with this whole problem statement. And eventually it became a platform which was about interactive content. Okay, so in our platform, every kind of content, somewhere in between the content, a pop-up comes and you have to decide, and according to that, the content will further proceed. It could be a story or it could be a podcast. Hence the interactive part, okay? The audio format. And on the basis of this, we wanted you to connect with the right kind of people. Because now, when you are making the decisions within a story, so in one of our stories that we are going to launch soon, you can play Kempe Goda and create Bangalore. Or you can choose to be a modern day kid and unravel a treasure he will hide. And he creates the entirety of Bangalore to hide that treasure. So those kind of stories. Obviously, while doing that, we are challenging you on your deep beliefs and emotions, etc. And we are kind of trying to build your persona. So basically, we have an algorithm. We are planning to patent it. So we are creating your persona, which is going and meeting people. This was the plan. Okay. Suddenly, the funding winters come. The session is ongoing, right? So we had an investor who had planned to invest like nearly 20 crores in our company, which is close to equivalent of 2.5 million. And then we had setbacks. Jan onwards. Taka, weird things start happening all around the world. And they were like, this is too dreamy, pause a bit. So we actually always we were focused on the college students, okay? That we want this to come to the college students so they can get the right kind of perspective and the right kind of connects. But then they were like, if you're trying to do this, do it in USA, don't do it in India because the Indian college ecosystem is not very inspired. And beyond the IIT especially, that inspiration to engage a lot in life is missing. Is it true? No. Is it true? Are you convinced with the answer? Is it true? No, right? So we were also like, it's not true, right? So we're like, bye-bye investor. And you can only have either you can consider your investor to be your customer or your customer to be a customer. So we knew that our customer are the college students. So we decided to go totally dependent on ourselves while becoming a very, very hyper-focused college-oriented company. So we then decided to bring in the podcast theory. Okay, that we'll not just talk about stories, because with that concept we needed a lot of funding to reach you, right? Like we need to spend 1 crore on our digital marketing to reach you. So we plan that we'll go college to college and we'll talk about our ideas and we'll make content more college focused. So now we are coming with a lot of podcasts which ranges from how to crack your placements and interview, and we are bringing content in vernacular languages, Kannada and Hindi. Okay, so because totally the kind of people who face the challenge with placements are the people who also face the challenge with English, right? So that being one of the themes, or how they met in how they met in college. How they met in college is the love stories. So we have actually covered one of the love stories from RV, where like they're getting married now. So different themes. It could be then hobbies, how to get your first gig as a musician, how to what else? How to crack CAT, what is inside IIM Calcutta, what to hope for things when you're planning for something like that. Entrepreneurship, okay. Three of the entrepreneurs from RV are in pipeline now to be interviewed for the podcast. And again, everything has been designed in a particular scientific way, I would say, or psychological way, where the interactions that you are doing is constantly also helping you to understand yourself better. Okay, so in a podcast, when you are taking different paths, it is totally designed as per the different personalities possible inside a college. And next, now we are planning to build upon it in a way that in 15 seconds we ask you every time, how are you feeling? What kind of what kind of motivation you want in life? What kind of technical knowledge you want in life? And we throw content as you want, like every moment, whenever possible. Sounds cool? And for this whole podcast thing, especially, we would be requiring inputs from you people, like what kind of more topics you would like us to cover. Like we have plans of covering GATE, GMAT, GRE, etc., all the exam section, like nearly covering every kind of job role that you aspire for: product management, software development, data science. So we have already covered one of the data scientists who was working with the company, and they could predict 15 minutes before a doctor if to send a patient to ICU or not. So he's a cool enough person. His team got commended by Andrew NG, by the way. So we are bringing perspectives from people like those, and you can interact with them on your phone. Cool? So now, what do I offer you right away? Our app is called CoDot. It is on Android Play Store, not on iOS right now. How many of you are having only Apple phones? Okay. So we will be soon coming on Apple. Basically, we are nothing else, but since our funding could be delayed because of the path we are taking, so thoda paisa bacha ke chalna pad raha hai, nothing else. But let's see, let's hope for the best. And we are also then planning to make you meet each other with respect to a context. So just imagine you sitting in RV and then meeting someone from BMS and PESIT with respect to a context. It could be entrepreneurship, it could be a job, it could be a hackathon, and you get to meet new people. Cool. So that is the wholesome thing. Now we have a community section where you can actually submit your own interactive content in written format, okay? And it would be available for everyone in the readable format, okay? Rest of it is mostly in the audio format. So we are giving you 3 pop-ups, basically 3 submissions that you can do in the next 1 week. and whatever we like, we would then have a podcast with you, and we are coming up with this whole thing called Students of Bangalore. So we will be covering some cool people with some diverse insights in life, and then your story will be available for the rest of the Bangalore. Okay? So the 3 pop-ups are, can you please make a note of it? Like, if you want, obviously. No credit for that. Can we start?
Yep.
If Steve Jobs had to sell Karnataka tourism, create an interactive content on that. It can be a story. It can be that Steve Jobs is now Sankar Jugati, and now he is a Bangalore kid, and how would he approach the whole problem? Or it can be like you are interviewing Steve Jobs. How would Steve Jobs market and sell Karnataka tourism? Okay, and you can play around the whole thing. You can do an interview with Steve Jobs, late Mr. Steve Jobs, and whatever. Second is, had I been a product manager at an academy, what next sub-product would I launch or a feature? Cool? The product manager could be doing anything. It could be a development related thing. It could be AI, this, that. And with a club, because obviously BIT doesn't have clubs, right? So I started teaching. So Mr. Sani had approached me back then to be one of the educators from an academy. Back then they didn't have an app. So yes. So second was this. Third is, okay, we had thought of things, but I'm kind of, should it be around ESL? Okay, why not? So if you become the Karta Dharta Vidhata of ESL, okay, like just imagine you have a crore of budget, you are the president, the principal is like, yeah, you are so wise, bodhisattva in disguise, that why don't you take all the decisions? So what would you transform ESL into? And again, all these things can be put in a story format or in a podcast. And if you install our app right now, the podcast would be available by tomorrow. Because as when I told, like we have slept for on an average 3 hours every day, every night. So few things are missing. By tomorrow onwards, you'll start having podcasts. And they are in 2 formats, like the cat one, how to, everything about cat. I call it Atsiri Cat Katha. They call it how everything about cat. So Shubham Dodeja is an RVC graduate, electronics, also an alumnus of ESL, and he became a cat guru. And this guy has received call from ABCL, but as entrepreneurs are crazy, he never went for the interviews. And he's the cat guru. So we have covered an exhaustive content of 6 hours, 120 questions, that too in branching format. So you can decide if you are preparing for CAT or just going in CAT, what to do, and accordingly it proceeds. Okay. Second format of the content is 1 question come, 2 pop-ups, 2 perspectives are given, 2 diverse perspectives. Cool. So we'll be having on CAT, I think data science, product manager again, Nishit is from ESL. What's the name? Okay, so one of the conveners and product manager in an academy, Mr. Nishit, with him also we are covering this entire exhaustive thing. Then one of your alumnus, Mr. Ganesh Shankar, if you have heard his name, is one of the legendary sustainability entrepreneurs in India right now. He is solving water crisis. He is like crazy genius, and also we share our office with him. So we are coming with the content around that. If you want to approach sustainability as an employee or as an entrepreneur, what to do? Cool. So how was it? I want genuine feedbacks on my oratory skills, because last night I promised myself that I will become one of the greatest speakers of India to brand and market CoDot. So how was it? Did I spend on certain things, or I was like good? Did I connected the dots in the right way, or did think, well, I actually need criticism from you people, so that like, because we are like family, right, RV but if I'm going to West tomorrow, I don't want anyone to judge me, right? And I asked them, your convener and your vice president of startups and innovation, right? Kunal, because I'm sorry, his name is known as Cody. Medhavi. So I asked them if you people are logical people or you want that jazz motivation. So I tried to keep in the kind of people you are, or I would have gone like, lend me your ears, and I would be walking around more and delivering more dialogues. So was it fine? Any inputs? Good.
So
Inspired, pumped?
Yes.
Please.
how do you match that IIT levels confidence that if you went to the IIT for speaking, how do you match what do you feel about the people? They are better than.
Okay, so when I joined BIT, okay, so I was someone who was about to commit suicide for not going to IIT, right? So I had a lot of anger in me, like literally a lot of anger. So when I came to BIT, I came with this problem statement in life that I'll convert BIT into IIT. The best I could do, right? Because IITs are not letting me. By the way, I'm someone who has been kicked out of IIT, like literally. Because I wrote a paper in mathematics, I sent it to Brand Smith. He is the person who has calculated the acceleration of universe. And he said, you're doing good work. So I took the printout of that email and I was like, IIC, give me addressing. Like, who are you waiting for? Like, the great mathematician is here. And I was actually dragged out of IIC. And then one of the professors actually called me like, boss, I've never met anyone like you. What the hell do you want to do in your life? And then Saraswati Mata came on my tongue and I said entrepreneurship. And he was like, why don't you do that? And I'm like, because I'm from middle class. He was like, you're such a crackjack that you can do it, you do it. So it was fine. Coming back to you, with that kind of attitude, when I started interacting with BIT, so I've actually put efforts, like for 10 months straight first year. And I realized the difference between an IITian and a BITian, okay? So in IIT, what happens? You have at least been sitting for 7 hours every day on your chair to crack IIT. That is done, right? Pakka done. At least advanced. Mains you can crack without that. But if you have cracked advanced, you have sat there for 7 hours every day on that chair. Once you start to sit on a chair with a purpose in life, with certain perspectives, okay, and when you actually succeed, or even if you don't succeed, there is no coming back in life. There is no coming back in life. The person I have become, so I was not this inspired till my 12th class. I constantly became, and now since I love so much what I do, I'm like bursting with energy. Anar ho raha hota bhai, mere charo taraf. Like I run every day 10 to 20 kilometers. I actually became 105 kg while CoDot idea was coming to my mind. I became super depressed. And now this like I have to do it, right? And this starts happening and there is no going back. On a Sunday, I cannot just sit and kind of chill and relax and Netflix and chill. I can't do that. It is beyond me. And that I realized the difference between BIT and IIT. So when I went to IIT Delhi, I remember I had a lecture planned. A kid came with a certain substance, I won't name that substance, it's illegal in India. And he had a briefcase of it, okay? He opened the briefcase and there were small units of that, nearly 340 something, okay? And then he started saying, sir, if you take this one, you will think, you take this one, you will sleep, you take this one, you will do mathematics better. And that was the revelation because I was really frustrated for like 10 months because I failed at creating an idea at BIT. Okay, and I was like, where did I fail? And believe me, I created a club, I kind of addressed them, people gave me $500 per head, I had 40,000 in my account. Just out of my speeches I had that and I promised them we'll make a quadcopter. And then people stopped coming. I like take you money back and they're like, nahi bhai tu bana, kar, hum khush rahenge. I'm like, what? Right? Though I got some of the finest people from BIT. I got some of the finest people. They became but I wanted to create a different phenomenon altogether. Like that year, I wanted BIT to become at a higher rank than IIT Bombay. That was kind of ambition I was having.
Someone is from BIT.
What?
Where are the founder?
Mr. Kamath is from BIT. So anyone can be from anywhere. Like I'm telling you. It's just that in IITs it gets manufactured more because they have more quality aggregation. And then coming to the answer, what happens? So when this dude started doing it, so I started interacting with everyone. And then I realized nearly everyone in IIT is super engrossed into something. It could be illegal or it could be football. Like if you talk to one of the IT delegates on football, suddenly it's like 1896 falana, this thing, referee did that wrong. I'm like, dude. And then I realized once you have done this 6 hour cycle in your life for 6 months, there is no coming back. And then you will pick on anything. It could be that you are playing golf, it could be you are doing coding, it could be you are suddenly a genius and move at the curves, how the table should go. There is no coming back from that in life. And then I started implementing this in whatever colleges I was going, and I'm getting great results. And this is how I started learning what is missing in lives of people and why CoDot. It's perspectives. People think that this is what they have already hit the end. Once you told them there is hope, once you tell them if you are actually indulging with the right kind of romance in life, you would be like anyone. Listen to Nitin Kamath and you like he is God speed apart from any of the entrepreneurs, from any other colleges, right? Nitin Kamath is a God in the world of entrepreneurship these days. And he got that clarity because he was indulging with something he loved, right? So we just want from CoDot that you find your love story. With respect to ideas, with respect to job roles. So believe me, be it if there are 1,000 job roles out there, we'll cover 1,000 job roles on CoDot. We don't want you to miss on anything and be a mediocre in your life. And there is no difference. And whatever be the difference, we will try to solve it from our end, and you also please try. And it is not about IIT versus BIT and RV. That back then I was a kid. It's about making India greater. Pawan there sitting, okay? Pawan is from BMS. He was an intern at Unicorn Mark in his second year. Then he went on to do his job. He is really smart. He is really smart. Okay? He helped us in a lot of ways in Unicorn Mark. And then he was at a certain salary. He resigned last week and he had joined us at 1/8 of his salary. Okay? Whatever he had. And this guy is way smarter than any of those 5 MITians. And more inspired. Okay? And a lot of people I know in Indian colleges. It's just that we have like ducking defined our limits. We have to just throw the lid off and there will be a war.
How do you cope up like he's better than me? How do you find
You
this?
come into the arena, you get beaten up by them, you learn what is missing on you, you again learn what you have to add, you go back to the arena, you keep doing this and one day you become God. Better than any mortals. No IIT, no MIT, you suddenly are a God. This is how you do it. Shahrukh Khan. Shahrukh Khan is Shahrukh Khan. How to become Shahrukh Khan is just this.
And the simpler thing is there's no shortcut to it.
There is no shortcut to it. If you feel someone is better than you have to challenge them. And one thing is for sure, tomorrow if Sachin Tendulkar is there, I would challenge him, okay? I would ball. What would happen? Sachin might hit a 5-time century. But what if I bowled him on the first ball? I'll become the greatest bowler in the world. Right? This is why I do entrepreneurship. I know CoDot is too romantic an idea. I tell my company people every day, that guy is joining, I'm like, nuts, crazy person. This might be a sinking ship. We have 2 romantic ideals and we are not going to compromise on them. So why are you joining the sinking ship? And then people come. So, yeah.
How do you find startup ideas and how do you implement on it? And
Listen to my podcast on CoDot.
why do you fail?
No, I actually answered it. So it will be uploaded by day after tomorrow. So
And like, why do you fail in those 17 ideas? And
because I didn't have perspective. I didn't have the right ideas in life. And then this is the problem. We are not missing on skills or energy or intelligence. We are missing on the damn perspective.